AJ want everything he can.
I'll be the one to take the risk to go and get them bands. I'll be the one to never sit and go and make a plan. Knowing my mother getting older now, don't got no time. Gotta keep a couple for the road, the rest get left behind. Yeah. To the hundreds, pledge allegiance, I stand. I'm gon' pull forward in the fucking white sand. I give it all to this fucking mic stand. If it's been done before, then I know I can. I'm on the rise, I'm trying to keep a level head. She want my time, she begging me to give me neck. I'd rather shed blood to the ground while I'm here. Put some weight on top of my name, my time here is not clear. I told Beretta VV diamonds all up in the chamber. My homie mother shooting up, I feel like I gotta save her. Government babies with no love. Go ahead, dude.
Okay. Yo. What's the deal, y'all? Hope all is well. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalan, and this is nice and neat, and this is come to the conclusion of season 2. Coming to the conclusion of season 2. What do we do this season? We had some incredible topics. We grew like crazy.
Man, we grew like crazy.
And the new setup.
Yeah.
This new setup. We don't know what it's going to look like for season 3, but thanks for rocking with us. We've seen all y'all comments on the new setup. You like it. And
thank y'all for the growth, man.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Pets out this month.
For real. For real.
Support,
overnight.
a lot of love.
It's a long ass night, but it was overnight. Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
It was good. But as always, I got my brothers with me. Oh, Duke. Appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah.
This is I can't believe we're coming to the conclusion of season 2.
I know. Happened so fast, man.
This is crazy.
So fast, man.
But with that being said, our show is all about brotherhood. But we can't just highlight the only positive things. This episode we're going to be highlighting a lot of the way that we provide conflict resolution within our circle. And it's important. It's important because a lot of times you may not know how to address the person that you love when they may have done something that you don't like or that you don't agree with and things like that. So what I will say is this brotherhood that you guys see right here today is really based off of the conflict that we overcame.
Right.
Mm-hmm. When you're within any situation and you go through something, you guys literally, if you could go through it, you can grow through it.
That's a fact.
So we've been through a lot. Me and O, we've butted heads over the years.
Big butt heads.
Big butt
heads over
Big
the
butt
years,
heads.
But it helped me understand your personality.
For sure.
And likewise, Duke, it's helped me understand exactly who you guys are going to be in every situation. But now, man, I guess this is your opportunity to talk about me, and our conflict resolution. So matter of fact, how do you shed grace when we're in our situations on me, when we may disagree on something?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I don't know what it is. For some reason, you and I tend to disagree a lot. Not a lot, but quite a bit. We tend to disagree quite a bit. And I think we tend to disagree so much is because we both have first of all of us here have very strong personalities. How I try to shed grace and show grace, with you is I try to listen. I try to do my best to listen to you all the time, right? Even if I don't like what the hell you're saying or agree with what the hell you're saying, I try my best to listen, And I think the reason why you and I have butted heads so much in the past is because, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, but I think I do a good job of listening, and where the problem occurs within our relationship is I end up listening to the same thing multiple times. I end up listening to the same thing multiple times, and I feel like, after a certain amount of times of hearing the same situation, it's like, I don't want to hear it anymore. Mm-hmm. So I give you grace by allowing you to express yourself and get whatever it is that you have on your chest off, right? Because I understand that. But I think where the problem occurs with you and I specifically a lot of times is that I end up hearing that situation more than one time, and the first time I may have just listened to you. The second time I listened and gave my input. The third time I'm like, yo, bro.
Man, listen to me, dog.
Hey, bro, come on.
Listen to me, dog.
And then after that, don't talk to me about it no more. And if you talk to me about it, well then, all right, now, bro, why are we talking about this?
You've said that to me. Don't talk to me about this no more, Jalan.
Yeah, that's usually where our conflict arises. But I try to just shed grace on you through just listening, bro. And I try to do that with both of you guys. I want to listen above anything else, you know. And sometimes we could be in a situation where I'm so heated where, you know, listening is hard. But my main objective, anytime I get into a situation with you or anybody else within our immediate circle that I love, is like, how can I do my best to listen to what's going on first before I proceed? Because I do, as we talked about a couple episodes ago, or maybe that was the live, right? Like I have the ability to go from 0 to 60 very fast. You know, I could be happy, go lucky, and then be pissed within a second, you know? So, you know, I just want to make sure I'm hearing everything properly before I escalate the situation. Because I'm good.
Good for that.
I'm good for that.
You good for that.
I'm good for that.
You good for that for sure.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, we try to be as authentic as possible on here, and we try to allow ourselves try to allow viewers and listeners to get a sense of our chemistry. And a lot of people have been supporting us because they know how we are as friends, you know. And it's very easy to see us publicly and assume that, man, these guys really get along. These guys really never disagree. And even sometimes watching this podcast, I'm sure, or listening to this podcast, you guys probably say, man, you guys are always, you guys have the same mindset, mind frame, you know what I mean? You guys think similar and things like that. So it's very easy, I would imagine, to assume that we never have disagreements. But the truth is, man, we're not always on the same page, you know, and we do have disagreements. And, you know, I really want people to the takeaway I want people to have is that it's okay, you know, because when you have different personalities, you know, especially men who all consider themselves alphas, right? And men who have strong opinions and have a foundation of just morals, it happens, you know, it's okay. But the takeaway is, how do we move past it, you know? Because maybe me and O haven't had too many conflicts, right? But maybe me and Jalon have had minor disputes here and there, you know? And a lot of times it can feel uncomfortable because we're not used to having these difficult conversations with our friends, you know? But I feel like if you just take it for what it is and attack it head on and just say, hey, it's just that, a minor disagreement, and not, yo, this person is the worst person in the world, or like, I can't fuck with this dude no more, like, he's not really my real friend, you know, and not take it to that extreme, then I think any issue you have with your partner or your homie or whatever, you know, you can overcome. So I think that's the biggest takeaway from.
Yeah, I mean, it's a relationship.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. Exactly.
You know, it's a relationship.
That's why I wasn't even thrown off by him using the word partner.
Right.
But I know why you had to clarify for our listeners.
It's a relationship. And just like when you're in a relationship with your partner and you get to see as time goes on, you get to understand, you know, their personality, and you get to understand their ways and things like that. You start to understand that when certain things happen and you get really upset, you don't get upset because of that isolated situation. And it may feel like you got upset over that isolated situation, but you get upset because your brain is actually able to now process context. So now you're getting upset because their actions is now speaking a pattern. So you're like, I seen this before, and I let me feel like this exactly again. And you get upset with yourself. And because it's like, typically whenever me and you guys have conflict, it's because of something that is within your personality chart already.
Yeah.
It's not like it's something new. It's not, you know, things didn't just get discovered in that moment. Like Omar is a person who he puts his expectations on other people. So if he's like, oh, I would have did this in this situation, if you don't do that, he's going to feel some type of way. He gonna be hot. He gonna be hot. And I know that about my brother, right? So whenever it's a time where I expected him to shed a certain level of grace, I have to understand that he's not there yet because he's still thinking from his perspective. And, you know, when it comes to Duke, you guys could understand Duke does whatever Duke wants to do. You guys listen to previous episodes. Duke gonna do what Duke wants to do. And when you see certain things happen within like their traits of like, okay, O moves like this, Duke moves like this, Jalon moves like this, you kind of give people a little bit more, I'll use grace.
Yeah,
you give people a little bit more grace because you're like, that is who they are. And I knew that. And I knew that. I knew that.
But what's hard is, even though we know that that's not the immediate response, because we have to kind of take ourselves out of it, right? And say, okay, this is who he is.
Do you look at the situation
Right?
first?
That's
or do
what
you,
I'm saying.
Or do you say, this is who he is
That's
first?
what I'm saying. It's very easy to say, what's that about?
Yeah.
Right? And it's normal because I'm like that, right? Okay, well, actually, Jalon has actually had this process. He's actually dealt with these types of people. You know, he has this type of personality, or Omar is this type of personality. So it makes me be like, after the fact, it's like, okay, initially, I was kind of taken back by it, but now I can see that, okay, I understand more why it's like that, you know? And Jalon is just way more opinionated than the average person, you know? And if you don't
I heard this nigga.
listen, Jalon, to all our listeners, and you guys can hear his voice, to all the listeners, Jalon is much more opinionated to the average, more than the average person, right? And for me, sometimes I don't remember that Jalon has a history of cutting hair for over 10 years when he's had to have conversations in a barbershop with people all day, right? So that's something that attributes to his personality that you have to remember, right? Yep. But if you don't think about those things, okay, well, it makes sense, right? You guys know barbershop talk. Cat after cat after cat after cat coming to your seat, and then people sitting in the shops, and then having your own shop, and then working in the shop. That's a lot of people. You know what I mean?
And then also going on.
A lot of conversation, because honestly, it's a form of information, education, and entertainment.
Yep.
Right? So you have to realize when you have that dynamic, you're going to be opinionated.
Yep.
You know? So like, I have to remember a lot when I'm speaking to Jalon about anything, is that I can't expect his opinion or I can't expect him not to voice exactly how he feels because he's used to it. Right. You know? And when it comes to you, you've always been an extreme elite athlete your whole life, right? So you're used to like having things your way. You dig what I'm saying?
For sure.
So like, you have to remember that when it says like when I think of I say is someone that motherfucker don't like being wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like he don't like being wrong. Be wrong and strong. You know, and that comes from him just like being absolutely sure of himself through his career, you know, through his upbringing, into the NFL, into his entrepreneur endeavors now. All those things play a part in his personality. And I have to, as a homie, obviously still cater to like how I feel in my emotions, but still keep those things in mind when I'm dealing with my friends, because that's the only way that eventually we'll find common ground.
You got to know your personnel, bro.
Got to know your personnel.
That's important, is to know who people are throughout a lot of situations. One thing that is interesting though is because as you continue to like go through life with people and go through certain situations, a lot of people feel like they know who they are, but it's hard to know who you are when you haven't dealt with every single situation.
Yeah.
So, you know, we all have a breaking point. You know, it's just like if you're bending something, you know, it could be bendable, it could be bendable, but like when it breaks, like you don't know where it's going to break at. Yeah. And that's kind of like how just us as humans we are. You know, you may feel like if you're in X situation, you may do this. Yeah. But when you actually break, you may do something totally different. You know, and within that space, it's not like, oh yeah, now I know who this person is, because in that space, they may not have known who they were going to be in that situation because they've never been there. You know, their breaking point really just kind of got to them to where they're like, you know what? I now have a new set of rules. And, you know, like knowing your personnel is important, but also within knowing your personnel, you know, applying grace to certain situations. So like that's the grace part. That shit is tough. Yeah. Having grace for people is really tough because having grace for somebody actually kind of, especially your friends, it allows them to be put back in that position to make you feel the way that you felt from what they did already. And that's what makes it really tough. And I mean, it's within any relationship, you know, things have to overcome things. You know, it's just about where is that breaking point at for you, you know, but
I feel like I also want people to understand when I say, just touching on like Jalon being opinionated, right? I want them to understand that it comes from a good place, though, right? It comes from him caring.
Right.
So Jalon is emotional in the sense of not like soft crybaby, but like I care.
Oh, I'm hyper emotional.
Jalon will.
I'm hyper emotional for sure.
Jalon will be mad at his friends when the Lakers lose, right? That's how emotional like he is about things. You know what I mean? So that's to just put it in context, man. It's a good thing that he's opinionated. When you think about it. And another thing about that I forgot to mention, man. Sometimes not necessarily to me or Jalon, but sometimes lacks tone and voice control. All right. So a lot of times the way his what he's saying could come off really aggressive if you just don't understand that's who he is, and like sometimes you know that. So y'all probably don't get it. Y'all probably don't get it right now because he be talking with his podcast voice, but
podcast voice.
But it's very easy for O to just come off
Positive energy, positive vibration, and a smile, of course.
But it's very easy if you don't really, if you're not used to it, to hear O speaking like, this dude won't smoke. It's very easy to think that, but again, like know your personnel.
But would you feel like that because you know me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the tone is the same for people I don't know?
Depending on what's going on.
But the situation with like,
I think it's worse. Me personally, I think it's worse. I think it's worse. I think it's worse.
That's how you feel too?
No, it depends. Like I could give some examples. We've been out before, and you may or may not have had a weed pen on you, and somebody asked to hit it. You're like, what? What? But you. I think that the biggest thing is too, especially for both of y'all, because Duke's like this as well. You guys don't shy away from any situation, and you make sure people can feel that. Like if you want to take it there, we can take it there. Like if that's what you want to do, we can definitely take it there. And I have no problem with it at all. So the tone of your voice may raise a little bit, but I also think that out of us three, you're the most approachable person. I think that me and Duke may give off more of a serious, don't really approach me demeanor when somebody may see us. But like you're more, I feel like you're more approachable. I don't think Duke's really that approachable.
That's crazy.
But I'm not the one to resolve a conflict.
I don't think you're the one to resolve the conflict.
You know what's crazy?
Somebody has to initiate that. You're like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'm off that.
Yeah,
I
could do that.
But it's funny because like you said, you and I are more approachable, right? But then you say, you and I are more serious. But then it's like, okay, y'all two is more jokey. So a lot of characteristics overlap from like one person to the next. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So maybe me and O are a little more, aggressive, right? Where and you're more like, okay, you can speak to people in ways that they understand. So I think it's interesting how everything overlaps.
Oh, word. Nah, forget all that. Yo, what's the deal, y'all? Welcome back to the Nice and D Halftime Show. I'm your host, Omar, man. You guys know what we like to do here. We don't need no introduction. We promote what we got going on here. So if you haven't noticed, you see that brim on Duke's head? Right there, that Law 17 signature trucker hat. Yo, if you guys want access to that, he's giving away a discount code right now. What's the discount code, Duke?
Nice and neat, man. Just like that. Nice and neat. 30% off. 30? 30% off on the signature trucker hat. All you got to do is head to law17.com, enter the code, and get your 30% off and receive your fresh signature truck hat. With that said, Duke, let's get into the game, man. Then the rules. What we got, bro? Hey, so before we move forward, man, we got to acknowledge, man, you're a newly engaged man. Let's give it up to my dog. Yo, shout out to my dog.
My dog. Yeah.
Okay, newly engaged. How I feel, man? How I feel?
Okay. I'm glad I got it over with. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? I was hella nervous last week and just trying to set up everything and make sure everything was like game tight. Shout out to y'all for helping me make sure everything
Yes,
was
sir.
like,
Come on now.
it went the way it was supposed to. It was a beautiful event, man. And obviously I made my queen happy.
Hello.
She's ecstatic. And I feel like it was not like that it was necessarily a burden, but I just feel like pressure relieved off of my shoulders. You know,
Yes,
like
sir.
I know that's something that my woman wanted, and I'm happy to give it to her. You know, so now we can focus on the next chapter of our lives together. So,
Wedding gonna be lit.
Yes, sir. That's gonna be lit.
Wedding's gonna be lit.
yeah. You know, actually about a week before the proposal, I sent it to one of her friends, and she was telling me the significance of our date, like the date that we got engaged, which is the date of our anniversary, which is 8/18. You know, just the 8's meaning infinity, you know, and the 1 meaning together. Like it's very like spiritual.
Yeah.
You know, so that was an interesting note that she shared with me.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm happy that I happened to plan it on that day, and we move forward with that. And
That's lit.
I'm
man.
excited to be a unit one day.
That's
You know,
lit.
so like a legitimate unit. You know,
That's
it's
lit.
one thing to have your partner, as you know, but to make that my fiance and soon to be wife. You
Man,
know,
that's
Hey
tight.
man, congratulations,
Yo, man,
bro.
congrats,
That shit
man.
lit.
Next
Hey,
chapter,
Thank
dog.
you.
check it out, man.
Congratulations,
Hey,
bro.
if you watching right now, go ahead and drop some nice and neat glasses in the
Yeah.
comments right
Come
now.
on now, toast up.
We're gonna
Yeah.
toast the O right now.
Go shoot a
man.
congratulations to Candace as
All
well.
that, man. Go holler.
You know, make sure she know that we sent y'all.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah.
now you show O love, you gotta show her love.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
It's like that now. But check this out. Since we talking about getting married and all, right, and proposing and all,
Uh-oh.
I got a Them the Rules question for y'all. Very simple. All right. How do y'all feel? Scratch how y'all feel. Would you accept if a woman proposed to you? Yo, scratch it. Is it acceptable for any man, right, to allow and accept a woman's proposal?
If that man doesn't believe in chivalry,
Mm.
and if he doesn't, he should go back and watch one of our episodes from this season.
I'm just trying to think about what her outfit would be if she's proposing to me.
Yo!
Is she in a dress doing this?
Oh, this is crazy.
Is she dropping to a knee? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's unheard of.
That's unheard
That's
of.
unheard of, bruh.
Propose to me?
No way.
Don't let my dad be there.
Couldn't
What is
be.
this?
Oh man,
No way.
It's
No,
over.
no,
way.
no. Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. Get
If
up.
you
What are
don't
you
get your
doing? Get
ass
up.
up,
Get up.
if you
Get
don't-
up. Get up.
Get up.
What are you doing?
Get up.
Get up.
Get your ass
Get up.
Hey,
People
hey,
looking.
You're embarrassing me right now.
up. Ass up right
But
now.
babe, no, don't. But babe, we got a lot of talking to
We
do.
gotta go.
Yeah.
We gotta go.
We gotta go.
We gotta go.
What? How long does a woman gotta be with a man just to be like, okay, let me propose to him? You gotta have 15 years in the chamber to be like, you know, what?
Right.
Let me go
right.
ahead and propose. That's crazy to me.
Hey, but even then, if it happens at that point, everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah, just,
Nah,
yeah.
it's
That's
over.
crazy.
It's
I can't
over.
do it. I can't do it. First of all, you can't rob me of that. That's my moment.
Nah,
That's my
That's the
moment,
only moment I
right?
have.
What you talking about?
It's the only moment I have in that entire process.
Never.
Yeah.
No, just so you guys know. Just so y'all know.
Oh,
That's
It's
only
the
moment.
only moment we will have in this entire process.
After that, it's all about her.
It's all about her.
Damn.
It's all about her and her dad if her dad is around. That's it. That's it, fam.
So we not letting that fly. That's
what what's she wearing? Why she doing this? She wearing a dress?
with sneakers.
Tight jeans? Yeah, she got to be in sneakers and she got to be in workout gear.
who does it make you question more, the woman or the man, in situations like that?
Both.
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 The level of pain that she has to feel to be like, you know what? I gotta propose because he ain't gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then if a man allows it to happen, what he says yes.
You a buster.
Like he says yes.
You a buster.
Like does he Does he say yes?
This nigga said,
Does he say yes?
Does he?
Because you're a girl at that point. Like, does he say yes?
Damn.
Does he pull out his phone and record her?
Damn.
Yeah, no, that's whack.
That's out.
I ain't gonna be. That's whack. I'm gonna just go ahead and go on record and say that. That's actually
out.
whack.
That's
so like
out.
all those that we see, and they be like, oh well, ladies, what's wrong with? It's wrong. Don't do that,
it's
ladies.
wrong.
Don't ever do that.
Hey, that's that stuff we don't do that.
No.
Are you breaking code?
Yeah, we won't do
You
that.
breaking code.
You breaking the code.
You breaking the code.
Dim the rules. Ladies, don't do it. Don't do it. What that's
Damn. Whatever you do.
That's the last dim the rules of the season.
That's the last dim the rules, bro.
Okay.
But let's get to the second half because I got some questions to press Duke about because he was on my neck in the first half. So with that said, man, we're going to get into the second half the only way we know how. Some positive energy, some positive vibrations, and a smile, of course, man. Let's go.
Hey, look, we starting the second half now, but just put your foot on his neck. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because the nigga was sitting here telling me, look, I'm here dropping M-bombs and shit. It got me hot.
Take it out. We'll take it out.
It got me hot, bro. No, but what I wanted to say was, though, is, you know, you mentioned that, you know, Duke is someone who's always going to do what he wants to do. And I wanted to just be clear and clarify, like, what that means for the listeners and the viewers. And Duke is definitely a team player, right? That could get, like, misunderstood, you know, in that message that he's going to always do what he wants to do. But Duke is a team player, right? And I'm speaking from experience. Duke is a team player who's always going to do something to make sure that he stands out. Right? So, like, Duke, we're going to know Duke on the team, right?
Yeah, he with us.
He wearing the same uniform.
Come on,
He
yeah.
wearing the same uniform, but case in point, okay? Right?
funny right
right?
there.
So, like, for all people, I mean, I know we have a lot of women listeners and viewers, but, you know, there's a lot of men that watch us and a lot of men that grew up playing sports, playing football in particular, but all three of us know exactly what, you know, spatting your cleat is, right? It's a way of protecting your ankles, and it's also like a swag component to your uniform, right? It's simply just taping around your cleat, right, to support your ankle, all like from your ankle all the way down to the mid of your foot. Okay, so like a lot of players do this thing. It's very common in every level of football, right? So I'll spat my cleats white or black or whatever color the tape is, right? With Duke being the creative that he is, right, and always wanting to do something that makes him stand out and looks a little bit different, you know, Duke would turn his ordinary spat into a spat that looks like a Chuck Taylor or a Converse, right? So while we're out there on the field, it's like, yo, what kind of cleats Duke got on right now? You know? So he's always doing something to help him stand out, right? But I'll give you another situation, right?
Run it up.
I'm going to give you another situation that Duke is going to always do what he wants to do, but he is a team player, right? Right? We could go to the gym together. We could all go to the gym together, right, and be working out. Okay? And for whatever reason, Duke doesn't like the music selection, right? Maybe it's not loud enough. Maybe they're just playing that bullshit in there.
The gym music.
They just playing the gym music in there, right? Duke is doing well for himself. He got AirPods. You've seen him before.
A couple pairs.
He got all kind of headphones, right? Instead of playing his own music in his ears, right? He wants to turn on
Yo, this is funny, right?
this joint right here, right? The speaker. He wants to turn this joint right here and blast that shit. Like, regardless of what everyone else feels around him, right? He gonna play his music because that's what he want to do, right? But I say that to say is we want to hear the music too, right? But we're just not gonna be the one to play it, right? So like those are two situations. To like I know Duke is gonna always do what he wants to do, but I just want to be clear that like he's still always a team player, but he gonna keep
That's funny right there.
Duke on the front of his mental.
That's funny right there.
You know,
That's hilarious, dog.
so yeah, I had to get that off. Because
said,
he
yo,
was
you
trying to
said-
make me seem like I was the
said-
only one that
Well,
had issues in this.
Hey, look, if we playing Uno right now, I'm about to click reverse. So look, Duke said, "Oh, don't like to be." He puts his expectations of people on other people, and he doesn't like to be wrong, right? Because your story made me think about a story right now.
Go ahead. Go
Right.
ahead.
Well, get it off there.
Go there. Go there.
So, you know, we work out together. That's just what we do, right? And I also, just a quick sidebar, I think, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, it's really important to work out with your friends too, so you could kind of see how they operate in struggle. You can see where that's at, like where they at with it, where their breaking points are at, as we mentioned earlier in this episode. But we working out. O likes to do, you know, we'll have 3 different workouts and that'll be one cluster, and we like to do like, it just depends on how long we like to do it, right? Sometimes it's 3 sets, sometimes it's 4 sets. This one in particular was 4 sets, right? We finished. Me and Duke, we finished. We chilling. We like, hey, oh, you still going? And he like, yeah. He like, how many y'all do? I was like, we did 4 of them. He's like, no, y'all didn't. It's like, why y'all didn't? Why we didn't do 4? Oh, because I'm on 4 right now. I was like, nah, bro, you're actually on 5. You're exceeding what you're supposed to be doing right now. He like, no, I'm not. Y'all cheating the work right now. It's like, look, we everybody's done, so we're all wrong. And because he's so headstrong, went through this entire cluster by himself
Just to prove it.
Sweating
Cause they was wrong.
Just to prove it.
Cause they was wrong.
Just to prove it.
Y'all was wrong.
Just to say. And then he said, well, I'm getting some extra work.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, bro. Nah, I'm trying to make us feel bad because you wrong.
Bruh, y'all was wrong.
Yo,
Count us off.
Oh my.
that was funny, bro.
Oh man, but like that, but it's interesting, when you get to pay attention to your friends, right? And this just goes for everybody. When you get to pay attention to your friends, the clashes that you have, you just have to look at past encounters so you can see their patterns of like who a person is, in certain situations. Because then, as surprising as it might be, the initial shock might be surprising, but when you really just sit down and you break it down, you're like, that's who my friend is. That's who my friend is. I wholeheartedly wasn't going to stop O because nobody was going to be able to stop him. That's who O is.
Yeah.
O wasn't going to tell Duke, hey, you're going to get fined if you spat like this because he had his mind made up. That's who he is. He's going to do what he's going to do. Yeah. And like me, like Duke thinks I'm opinionated,
Thinks?
He thinks I'm opinionated,
Jelon going to say what he want to say. He said Duke gonna do what he do. Jelon gonna say what he want to say. Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does Jelon gonna say what he want to say mean exactly?
That means that regardless if anyone disagrees with how he's feeling, regardless if the environment is not that conducive to or suitable to what he's about to say, right? He's gonna let his opinion be heard no matter what. You know what I mean?
Hey, fact check me.
Because it's not a matter of being.
He need a moment.
It's not even a fact check thing. It's like he could be right, he could be wrong. But Jelon's thing is like, I gotta say it, because if I don't say it, it's gonna feel worse than if I do say it. Because like Jelon prides himself on being authentic and real, and someone that he's like one of those people that say, yeah, I would tell him this in his face. Yeah. He's one of those people. So when you walk around with that mentality, then you got to live up to it. So I think that's exactly, what he does. So I think that a lot of times that whole Jelon going to say what he say, that's where it comes from, and oftentimes it could lead to conflict, right? But I want to dive into something that people have struggled with, right? Conflict resolution, right? Because we could talk all day about how like we should be able to speak to each other and move past it, right? But a lot of people don't know how to move past it. They don't know the actual things that you should do to move past it. So I kind of want to touch on those things, right? So I have a few things, and then if I miss anything, you guys just pick up, all right? Go ahead. So one thing that I think helps resolve conflict, right, with your friends is that I think that if there's an issue, it needs to be addressed immediately, right? I think you shouldn't pander and wait for a problem, to address it, because what happens is the longer you wait, the harder it is to talk about. When it's fresh, you can attack it. There's no awkward space, So the quicker you can address a problem, the better it'll be. And I think that whoever's the one that addresses it, the other person will appreciate it, right? I think too, man, the best thing to do is talk face to face. If you can't talk face to face, FaceTime, right? If you can't FaceTime, call. Last resort is text. I prefer not to text because texts get misconstrued. People take things differently. I can't really tell tone and intention through text. The best thing to do is face to face, and if not, then FaceTime, and if not, call. Because then that's like a more realistic gauge of emotions and tone and voice. And then another thing that kind of falls in line with understanding your personnel and understanding who you're talking to is you have to be delicate with what you're saying, right? You can't just say, like I said, Jalan's going to say what he wants to say, but Jalan's not going to say it however he wants to say it, right? Because he understands that everyone receives things differently, right? And it's a respect thing there. So I can't just come to O and say, hey, yo, like you was wrong for this XYZ, XYZ. Now I got to come at you respectfully, delicately, because I understand if I was in his shoes, I would want to be treated the same way. So like when we're having these tough conversations or we're looking to resolve conflict, right, we have to really come at it from a place of, all right, let's be solution oriented and let me not just like use my emotions to like try to just get everything I want to say out. So those are my 3 things that I think can help conflict resolution. Yeah,
I think conflict resolution is typically the hard conversations, the one you run from, like you said, and you take more time. You get more time to just listen to your thoughts rather than understanding exactly where this person is coming from and understanding how they feel about the situation. I think it's really important to put yourself in that person's shoes. And let's say you're not ready to talk to them yet, right? But you kind of need a soundboard first. Right. When you utilize a soundboard, it's really, really important to not allow your emotions to affect that person's thoughts. So you be like, man, you know what? I think it's whack that. And then you go in and say what you're saying. You're already influencing that person's thoughts. So you be like, hey, you know, how do you feel about this situation? And they're like, what's up? Well, you know, this happened between me and Duke, and, you know, Duke said this, and then I said this, you know, but he also said this, which I did understand why he said that, but I still feel this way. How do you feel about that? And when you allow somebody to kind of just literally hear both sides, like, yo, he said this, I'm saying this, how do you feel about it? It allows more of a, rather than you just trying to force somebody to be like, feel the way that I feel. When I tell you feel how I feel, I want you to feel how I feel. And that conversation could look different if I just be like, hey, you know, Duke did this. I hated it. You know, I don't like it at all. How do you feel about it? Yeah. You didn't give me any room to not like to say you're wrong. You know, so I think it's really important to where, let's say you can't have that conversation with that person immediately. When you have a soundboard, be fair with the soundboard. Be fair with the person that you're talking to, and you're giving both sides. Because I don't believe in his truth, my truth, and the truth. There can be multiple truths, but there's not his truth, my truth, and the truth. It's like, these are the parts that are true from me. These are the parts that are true from him. You know, and this is how we can try to come to the resolution of this particular conflict.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of resolving conflict. Like, I know you gave different ways, like obviously in person first, FaceTime, call. We'll just leave it at those 3. Okay. But I've always been a fan of like resolving conflict in person at like in public places. You know? Yeah. Public places require or will allow both people, not allow, but kind of restrict both people from being civil. Yeah. It won't restrict it. It will keep them being civil. It will keep them. It will keep them to being civil in the moment, you know, and not letting their emotions get the best of them and arise in the situation to where now we're no longer talking to each other. We're talking at each other. You know what I'm saying? So like, I've always been a fan of that. Another thing too is just like, you know, we spoke on it earlier, just really taking that time to listen. It's kind of, you know, what you were saying as well. You know, like it's very hard to resolve a conflict if I'm not listening to what the other person is saying about how they feel about the actions, etc. You know, so like, it's one thing to express yourself, right, and say how you feel. I mean, that's easy. It's easy to get those thoughts off. But like, do I have the same capacity, you know, and do I give that person the grace to get their situation off as well, and do I have the mental capacity to understand it in the moment? You know, like those are 2 things I think people should think about. 2 things that people should think about, like upon, you know, a conflict, you know, or entering a conflict and you're trying to resolve it.
What about like when you may be dealing with a conflict and somebody is just dead wrong, right? There's no there's because we can be as diplomatic as we can be, but how would you showcase to somebody that they're wrong? Is that even your job to showcase to somebody that they're wrong?
It's not your job. I think what your job is to do is to just kind of just leave the situation alone. Okay, realize we all been in a situation where we realize, okay, this is going nowhere.
Right.
Right, this is going nowhere. Let me just take a second. Let me give this person some space. Let them think about it, and let me think about what's going on too. You know, but I don't think it's like anytime, like I've had a situation with you or you where I may have been strong and wrong, as Duke would say, you know, I know for a fact, it may not have happened every time, but I know for a fact there have been moments where I have come back to you guys and be like, hey, y'all was right. I was tripping.
For sure.
I was tripping.
And that makes it all good too.
Yeah.
And that make it all good. But I needed time. So I think from speaking from experience, it's best to kind of just let the person deal with their thoughts and how they feel in that moment. Give them time, some space to really think about what transpired over the past 5, 10, 20 minutes of you guys trying to resolve that conflict.
I do. I appreciate the
Yeah.
I appreciate when we get into it.
I mean, that's what makes our relationship stronger.
Like you said earlier, right? That's how that's a byproduct of the conflict that we've been in.
Our relationship.
Our relationship,
Yep.
right? So I thought that was powerful when you said that, bro. But again, definitely want to reiterate, man, that we all are best friends. We're brothers, right? But it's not perfect, right? This is a working thing, and we've actually worked at this, you know. And what I want to say to a lot of young cats that are aspiring to have good relationships with people, man, is I want you guys to be intentional about your friendships, right? Good friendships just don't happen, right? Nothing good just happens. The older you get, man, it's important to be intentional. I think it's important to have good character. I think it's important to have great conflict resolution skills, man. So ultimately, you guys can have these wonderful relationships, man. So just be conscious of that as we're moving forward.
By the way, I learned this in therapy, and you kind of jokingly touched on it, but maybe if you guys are dealing with, you know, or having a problem dealing with conflict resolution within your relationships, Uno is a great conflict resolution game. Okay, it's guaranteed there is guaranteed conflict within the game about who plays the card down first, whether you're gonna stack +2s, stack +4s, if we're gonna hit a reverse, all of these things, right? And you have to resolve it in order to continue the game, right? I learned that in therapy. Thought I'd share that. It's a fun way to actually just work on those skills with someone that you may love or have a relationship with.
Speaking of Uno, if I play a draw 2, right, and you play a draw 2, do he have to draw 4?
Depends on whose house we playing at.
Or do you draw 2, and then you could put your card down?
It depends on whose house we playing at, and that's how we resolve the conflict.
Or do you draw 2 and it skip you 2, and then he go?
Hey, it depends on whose house you playing at.
How you
playing at my house, and you play.
You can stack.
I'm stacking. He got +6. Or +4, really.
Wow.
+4.
So we're about to wrap up season 2, man. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the support, man. Thank you for all the feedback, man. If you're watching this right now, please, this is our last episode of the season, so please screenshot what you're watching. If you're listening, screenshot, post it to your stories, tag us at Nice and Neat the Podcast, tag Duke, tag Jalon, tag O, and we're going to come catch up with you next season. Oh, real quick, shout out to Avery White. All right, Avery White. Shout out to one of our supporters who's been supporting from day one, man. Shout out to Avery White.
Shout out to you.
Much love, much gratitude.
Yeah, we ain't gonna be gone long.
We ain't gonna be gone long.
We come right back to you.
Drop some comments. Let us know what you thought about the episode. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our Apple Podcast channel. Subscribe to our Spotify and all that good stuff, fellas.
Topics too. Comment the topics.
Comment some topics. Oh, let us know. Let us know what y'all want to hear. Let us know what y'all want to hear. With that said, I'm Duke.
I'm Omar.
I'm Jalon, and this is Nice and Neat, and that's that on season 2.
I'll be the one to take the risk to go and get them bands. I'll be the one to never sit and go and make a plan. Knowing my mother getting old, now I don't got no time. Gotta keep a couple for the road, the rest get left behind. Yeah. To the 100s, pledge allegiance, I stand. I'm going for